Welcome back to the Occult Detective. I'm Bob Freeman, and today I thought I would show off some books that I picked up recently, some from used bookstores, some sent to me by publishers. A review, so let's get down to it. First, some history. Picked up this lovely book, Sovereign Britain. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this, by James Reynolds, who did the cover art as well as interior illustrations. The end papers, unfortunately marred by a library catalog. Reynolds is just, he's a tremendous artist, but his writing is just pure poetry. I mean, the guy is just magnificent, and this just reading through this just really opens up the British Isles in a way that I didn't expect. I'll admit, he's just got such a way with words that I should probably give you an example. A long vista of fern and heather fringed loch is called Talla's Water, the reservoir which provides the cold, crystal clear Edinburgh water supply. So refreshing in taste, it is a constant source of wonder to visitors. A weird beauty pervades this wild and lonely reach. Under every Talla's rock lies a ghost, is a well-worn saying. Yet no greater beauty of nature can be found than this cradle of Scotch mist, which hovers as a veil, even as a myriad rainbows arcing in the sunlight. Covenanters took refuge in the hills during the bloody killing times. It is not strange that an underlying melancholy haunts the ballads, pipers' laments, and songs of this countryside. The whole book is like that, and it's just magnificent, and I highly recommend it. I've just thoroughly been enjoying reading through this thing. It came out in the 50s, and like I said, really cool illustrations and wonderful prose. Really exciting. Staying on the history bent, I also picked up The Excavations at York, the Viking Dig. I love Viking history, and this one is really pretty impressive. It thoroughly goes through the archaeological insights into York. Really exciting stuff. I was trained as an archaeologist, so this sort of thing really fascinates me. Highly recommended if you're into Viking history. On the psychological end, we have Steve Pinker, The Blank Slate, The Modern Denial of Human Nature. Now, this is the sort of thing that really fascinates me, and I'm looking forward to diving into this. I've long held that we fight against our true nature all the time. We legislate against it. Understanding human nature at its core is how we evolve as a people. Denying human nature only makes things worse. And I have a sneaky suspicion Mr. Pinker is going to agree with me wholeheartedly. How about some science? I picked this up, The Radium Girls. This is the dark story of America's shining women by Kate Moore. This was a bestseller. I had always meant to get around to it, but finally got a hold of it. And yeah, excited to dive into this. That brings us to horror, the lone selection that I picked up over the weekend. This is Sarah Langen's debut novel, The Keeper. Love Sarah Langen. She's a terrific author. Had a chance to speak with her on several occasions, and just a wonderful person, and she writes some really dark stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what her debut was like way back in 2006, I think this was. I did mention in the title card, blacksmithing. Well, I did pick this up, the Home Blacksmith. I don't think it's going to teach me anything, but it's always good to have this sort of thing around. You know, just to remind you of little tricks of the trade. I've always wanted to have a home forge. I do not at present, but you never know. Retirement's coming soon. I gotta have something to occupy my time besides all this book chasing, book writing, magic weaving. Well, you know. Speaking of magic, here are some interesting things for you. This was a gift from a friend. The Art of Soaring. This was a bestseller in Russia. And I think it is probably akin to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I know what you're thinking, but it's true. This is a very important magical text. Read it. So, 3 fantastic books sent by the publisher Llewellyn for review. We have from Nikki Wardle Sleeth, Dream Sorcery. The Ritual and Magic of Lucid Dreaming. This is something very near and dear to me, something I was very into in my 20s. Harness your dreams to hone your magical practice. Well, I'll give this a read, and if I ever have another good night of sleep, maybe I'll put some of this to work. Here's another one that's interesting, again, from Llewellyn. This is by Eric Brown and Alana Brown. A Beginner's Guide to Ceremonial Magic, Modern Hermeticism. Awaken the divinity within you. It's time to claim your inner power and become the best version of yourself with this accessible introduction to the secrets of Hermeticism. We shall see. And at the very top of my list, a book that I was very eager to get my hands on, and happily Llewellyn saw fit to send me a copy. High Priest, Raymond Buckland, the father of American witchcraft. I cut my teeth on Raymond Buckland as a young lad. This is from Jason Mankey, and there's Jason himself on the back. Buckland, of course, wrote the Complete Guide to Witchcraft, which everybody calls the Big Blue. He also wrote some great books on candle magic and his own version of Scottish witchcraft, and several other. I have a whole library full of his works, and I always appreciated his narrative voice. And I hope that this biography of Buckland captures some of that. He really was a wordsmith. He just had a very dignified look that came through in his writing as well. There was this kind of a nobility to what he did. So really looking forward to reading and reviewing this and all the other books that I showed off today. So I have a lot on my plate. My son, Connor Freeman, has his new fantasy novel that drops tomorrow. Be sure to pick up a copy. I guarantee that you will enjoy it. If you like epic fantasy, if you like complicated relationships, political intrigue, it's all in this. It's the first book in a trilogy, and just I as an early reader of it, I just was totally captivated by it, and I recommend it highly. And not just because he's my kid. Really good stuff. I'm also doing some artwork. I was contracted to do some work on some John Silence and Thomas Karnacki, which kind of barks right up my tree. So I'm looking forward to showing off some of that to you in the near future. I'm still diligently working on the Occult Detective role-playing game with Connor. And we'll have that out here in a couple of months. So that's all I have for you today. I got to get back to it, so we'll talk again soon.